Roll, please.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning. Alan Barkstrom,
Here.
Jeff Hallstrand,
Here.
Paula Hodak,
Here.
Jordan Spacek,
Here.
and Dennis Wargo.
Here.
Thank you.
Public comment. Is there any public comment? Now's your time to shine there, Michelle.
She's not part of this one.
Shut
Well,
this.
here, is there anybody online? Star 6 to unmute yourself if you'd like to speak in public comment.
Thank you.
Hearing none. Is there any communications from board members? Nothing? Nothing?
Nobody wants to talk.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 2, the procedure for abstaining from vote. Robert's Rules of Order.
Yeah, so I reached out to WCA and we also talked Corp Council, so our parliamentarian, parliamentarians, whatever it is.
Parliamentarian.
So there's a couple things to think about when you're discussing abstaining or the issue of abstaining. And ultimately, you can't compel someone to vote. So you can't make them vote yes or no. That's where the abstention comes in. So there are several counties that have a rule about abstaining where you have to identify why you're abstaining, because then that rules out any conflicts of interest or ethical issues. So we could discuss that you guys can discuss it in your supervisor manual to just say, if you're abstaining, you need to give a reason so that we can rule out the conflict that you may have. So conflicts would be you're voting on a contract that would give you or your family a deal. So like if you own, I can't remember if it's 2 or 4% of a business, that would be a conflict. If you are going to make more than $15,000 in a contract, that's actually a felony. So that's a whole different issue. But so you can't compel them to vote. So everybody's allowed to abstain. Some counties make a rule about abstention. What we talked about with WCA and Corp Council was the biggest problem with abstaining, especially if you're communicating during the meeting, you obviously have an opinion. So why aren't you voting yes or no? It really, all it does is a disservice to your constituents, because you are here to represent those constituents. You're abstaining. That means those 1,000 in our case don't get a voice. They're taking off the vote. We talked a lot about, what if I just don't understand the topic? I want to abstain. That's when you're supposed to be asking additional questions. That's what the discussion's for. That's what we're here for, to answer questions. Come in early, ask for more information. That's when you could postpone to get more information. But we can't compel people to vote. It'd be up to you guys to decide if you want to make a rule in your supervisor manual that says, if you're abstaining, please, you have to tell us why. If you do plan on abstaining and it's due to a conflict, you should actually leave the room, because nonverbal is just as much as verbal. So like if you're talking and then you abstain, well, you've influenced the vote. Just sitting there and going, oh, well, and making noises or shaking your head, that's just as much as speaking during a conflicted issue. We rarely have those level of issues. It's more of, I didn't understand. We hear that a lot. I didn't understand, so I abstained. Well, that's when we're here to answer more questions, continue to ask. That's when we can bring in a expert, or we can bring in the department head, or those type of things. So any questions on abstention?
Well, I would have some comments on it. We went through this several years back where there was an abstention, and there was quite a back and forth between the chair and that particular person. And maybe a lot of people remember that. I don't know where that wound up, but Robert's Rules of Orders has been around for a long time. And if we were going to, this is the information that I have, it's in the drawer. There's nothing in here that says about abstaining. I don't know if there's anything in Robert's
Excuse me,
Rules of Order
Alan?
that says anything about
You
it.
should microphone.
It's on. So
Oh,
yeah,
don't even
but
hear him over here.
He's just not.
Oh,
Okay, sorry.
okay.
Go ahead.
No, I lost my.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing about abstaining in that paper, you said.
Yeah, So if we were to make some kind of rule, I would want to know, I don't have enough information to comment on that. If there was, I would need more information, like where specifically in Robert's Rules of Orders does it say that abstain? And if you did abstain, I know how to abstain, you know, and I certainly would tell you, you know, if I had a business deal or had some conflict of interest, that would make a lot of sense to just disclose it.
Yeah.
But to me, an abstention is a vote no, because if you had a committee of 5, 1 abstain, now you got 4, and it's a tie vote, it becomes a no, really. And if there was a you know, the whole resolution would be declined because of that. So
I think-
I wouldn't do anything with it.
When you brought up, we went through this several years ago, probably the same exact situation. We're getting to that breaking point. Do we want to do anything in the handbook? We decided no before. Ultimately it is, yes, a no vote. I think where the frustration comes is the individuals that participate in the communication or the discussion and then
Okay, so
abstain.
here you have a whole discussion, you're part of it, and then you abstain.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one we talked about that happened before, it was on a UW extension position where it was the individual was, yeah, this is great, we need it, this will help all the municipalities. It was that grant writer. And then when it came to vote, it was like, I abstain, and somebody goes, why? Well, I can't have my name on that. And it's
Yeah,
like,
well,
but you
that's-
participated in the whole conversation. So, I mean, usually your
That's
questions
just poor
and your-
etiquette when somebody does that.
and that we can't do anything about unless you make the rule to say, why are you abstaining publicly? So that
Well-
when it comes to elections, somebody can point out, look, you abstained and this is why every time. You're not representing me as a constituent. But
The other thing
that's
is,
the issue.
if you had something in the rule, how would you enforce it? I mean, the last time we had an issue in this boardroom with somebody abstaining and there was a conflict between the board chair and that person, I mean, how could the chair enforce it?
Yeah, but there was no rule.
There
So
was no
back
rule.
then, there's no
Well,
rule. If you had a rule, you'd be able to enforce that. There are, things you would do. It'd be public.
Paula?
I think Nick hit the nail on the head pretty easily with my concern is your constituents. And if you polled your constituents and you had a majority of them feeling that you shouldn't be voting on that, maybe then I would feel better about it. But you're just the voice for those people. So that's where I stand.
That's where I had the issue is with participating in the debate and trying to influence people and then abstaining.
Discussion, not debate.
Yeah, it is discussion.
Discussion.
Well,
It should be discussion.
It should be discussion towards the chair of the committee.
it's a debate.
Comments towards the chair. We shouldn't be debating each other. Yeah, but I know what you're saying. It's the discussion.
Yeah.
That's what happened. It was like 3 years ago we went through this. In my 14 years, I think this is the 4th time we've talked about it. It comes up every 2-3 years. We get where a board member discusses and then abstains. I'll pick on people who aren't around him, but like Ron Cardis used to do this all the time. Talk, abstain. You're like, okay, like it happens. It's my 14 years. There's always been somebody that has gone through that.
That's just poor performance on the supervisors to do that.
And one I want to make sure everybody understands is if you're abstaining because you don't understand the issue, that's what myself and our staff is here for. Ask questions, come in early, call us. Our lines are all public to call, email us. We'll set up a time. If you don't understand something, that's what we're here for. We're not here to tell you how to vote or what to do, but we're here to educate you on the situation in order for you to make a good decision for your constituents. Or a decision. It doesn't have to be.
I don't see what would be wrong with putting a rule in that.
I
You
would
have to- you have
suggest,
to
if I may,
declare a
Mr.
reason.
Chair, I would suggest putting it on the agenda for the next committee meeting of the administration and then have a rule, at least a template,
Yeah,
and then discuss it there.
that sounds like a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Okay. That's what we'll do then. We'll just postpone it until the next board or committee meeting.
And you don't need a motion or anything. We know we're going to I'll go out and talk to a couple other counties, see what they have in their handbook. just to get some language.
Sure. Sounds good. Collective bargaining agreement between between Price County and the Price County Deputies Union. We have to
Right.
ratify it, approve the resolution and forward it on to the board.
Yeah. It was what, 6 hours? We started, about 5 hours. I did end up having a couple conversations with Chrissy and Kevin afterwards. Kevin's the union rep, and Chrissy's the president. Both of us were happy with the results. Neither of us were happy, but we're all happy because it was a compromise. They were cordial to work with. It was good discussion. I think we went in and out of the room about a dozen times. So it turned out well. We got it done. So today what will need to be done is there's a resolution in front of you. If it passes 3-2 or greater, once it gets to the full board, all members of the admin committee have to be unified on their vote. So once it gets to the board, whether you vote yes or no right now, if it passes, you have to vote yes at the board level.
Can I ask where we ended up with it?
It's about 633. There was $1.50 or $1.50. $1. Yeah, I can't remember.
That's not in here?
It's on the wages
Last
page.
page.
Yeah. So there was a economic adjustment
Buck
is
and a
what they
half.
called. It was buck 50, which ends up being, and then one on the wages. Oh, you don't have the
1%.
contract?
Yep.
I don't have
Oh.
the contract.
I do.
Oh, it's on that one.
The big contract, yeah. So it ended up being about 633, which keeps us right in the middle. We didn't leapfrog anybody. We didn't fall behind. That was our big discussion point is we've in the past, we've been in the middle. So let's stick with the middle. The biggest thing is the other counties have not settled around us. So it may adjust a little bit by the time this is all done, but we've been, knock on wood, in a great place. We have a good culture going over there. So we have good leadership. People are willing to stick around. We're not seeing the jumping around. When we do have a recruitment, we tend to get 3 or 4 decent applicants to review, two, 3. And so we've been doing well at keeping a full staff, where I see other counties are really struggling with keeping staff. So
I would make a motion, we ratify the collective bargaining agreement.
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I'd just like to make one comment, if it's okay. Just to eliminate confusion, the first year is actually roughly 6%, but it isn't 6%. It's a flat $1.50 an hour for every employee,
yep.
and then 1% on top of that.
Yeah.
So it amounts to 6%.
Yeah, so the $1.50 was about 5%, and then so they call it was like an economic something.
Enhancers.
Yeah, something. They had a term. It's what I saw a lot of them around us doing is there was a lump sum to kind of catch them up to a certain level, and then to the percentages. So we did the 1% also next year on top of that, and that was just one of those.
So nothing with vacation. No, I mean,
Holiday change.
We ended up negotiating a holiday change, so they no longer get Martin Luther King Day. They get the day after Thanksgiving. The reason we did that was because the rest of the county gets that day, and so for payroll, it's way easier not to have separate days off. There was other items on the board, but ultimately they took those off. Investigators got a 50-cent increase, so instead of
see that jump.
$2, they're $2.50.
Good work, Chrissy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was so embarrassed when she got that. It was like, I'm the president. I shouldn't get this. It's like, no, we know our investigators are not segregated enough from the general person comparably. So that's where that one came from. But no vacation changes, no changes to their compression of they have a 20-year work schedule. A lot of counties do 8 or less, 7 or less. We kept it at 20. We did offer them a 0.5%. Like we said, if you want to compact that down to 7 or 8 years, I can't remember it would cost a 0.5% anywhere in the contract, and they decided no. But in general, it was good discussion. It
There
wasn't.
was a lot of, talk with them about sick leave
Mhm.
and
How to
comp
use it,
time
yeah.
And that, and we didn't change it.
Yeah, comp time we did nothing with. Sick leave we did allow them to use it for bereavement. So like if you are have a family member pass and you get, I think it depends on the family member, between 1 and 3 days. However, we know that there may be a time where you need an additional day or two off, so we allow that to be used as sick leave now. Again, based on their career, I wouldn't want them coming back if they weren't ready to be back doing their job. So that was one negotiate. So it was more of how they got to use their sick, not that they get more or different. They also negotiated, this one was an odd one, was the getting sick or being able to go negative sick leave your first year. So the way our sick leave works is every paycheck you gain, or every month, so every 2 paychecks, you gain 8 hours of sick. And their concern was for new employees, if they won't have enough if they were to get sick. And so we allow them to go up to 64 hours, 48 hours negative sick leave the
That
first
must be a
year.
thing because our company just did that this year. You're allowed to go in the whole 40 hours.
Yeah, it's only the first year though. So like
That was odd.
once you get to your 1 year, you can't go any less than what you're already at. So if you're at -8, you can't go further in your second year. You have to catch up. So it doesn't really. It was one of those like, hey, if there was nobody in the room that was under a year, so it was surprising. But that was a contentious issue. It was interesting.
I have a question.
It's open.
Just to the, you were going to check with counties around us and you said maybe there would be a little wiggle room. What does that affect? Does that affect the 1% extra or the?
No. What I say when I say that is right now, based on where we landed, is we're right in the middle where we were,
Okay.
and we'll continue to be in the middle until maybe they all have their discussion. And
I have heard some numbers.
Yeah,
and-
Burnett
and
County
We did
settled.
really well.
Yeah, I'll give an example. One that's not in our group, Burnett County, they settled for 12.95. So
Mhm.
like if they were behind us, they would have jumped ahead of it. They're not in our group, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
we did well. It's been great to work with them. They were
Yeah.
happy.
But you don't know what you're really comparing because you
Yeah.
don't
Well,
know
that's- yeah.
how far behind they were. Or
Well,
how far ahead they
I
were.
missed the meeting and I've enjoyed it in the past. It's interesting what
Yeah. So
one thing they get stuck on every now and then. I'll say that, and that's why I was disappointed I didn't get to make it. So.
yeah, for good example too, St. Croix County, they settled at 333. And so it's like, whoa, they sound really good. They're the top in their region at $40 an hour. So 3% on $40 is like us giving 5%. So it's relative to where your starting position, but that's what I mean is like
Okay.
when
okay.
we were negotiating, the surrounding counties hadn't finished their negotiation. So we took the current and we went up and down.
So what did you're gonna tell me earlier what Russ
Yeah.
County,
Oh,
what they turned down?
yeah. They
We will be in the bottom next contract.
So
Yes.
we'll vote on it.
We'll
Yeah.
have to jack it up and.
to be clear, there's not going to be any change to the contract if approved. The wiggle room statement has to do with our ranking comparing us to other counties as far as wages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
this document will not change. Will not
Okay,
be
So
altered.
That
January
was my
1st,
question.
this
Thank
this
you.
document goes in place. What we'll see is in 3 years, we may have fallen or however, based on other negotiations, but that's how it goes.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
Mm.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
All right.
You got a clean copy to sign? Where'd you go, Jordan? So, there being nothing else? Next meeting date is scheduled for December the 9th. And we are adjourned.